Welcome to the Riverside Golf Lab. Super excited for my guest today, a director of golf and men's head coach at the University of La Verne, Coach Silva. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited for this.
I know,
we
me
have been
too.
planning for a little bit.
We
so
have.
I'm glad it worked out.
Yes, and especially now that your season started, your time is so valuable. So thank you for coming and spending
of course.
some of it with me today.
Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. I'm really interested. How did you get into the game of golf?
The beginning, so way back.
Yes.
I'm feeling old now.
Where are you from?
So I'm from Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah, born and raised there. I started playing golf with my dad. He was always bugging me to go. I never wanted to go because I always played all the other sports in high school. High school.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was about 14, he took me to a clinic where like a couple pros were teaching the game, the swing, and all of that. And it was more fun because it was a ton of teenagers and some kids as well there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I picked up the club, I had a hard time hitting it. So that caught my attention right there.
Okay. Love a challenge.
Yeah, it was so challenging to actually get the ball going. And I looked at my dad, I was like, I really like this. And then the pro teaching at the time told my dad, I was like, well, she's 14. Normally people started so young, but she already have the movement down. And this is like lesson one. And then I hit a couple shots that went up in the air. I was with like a little 9-iron and I was able to hit like 100 yards already.
That's amazing.
So I was super excited. And then I kept bugging my dad after, like, take me. So finally start going to a range for like 6 months.
So you got the bug quick.
Yeah, I did.
Didn't take long.
And then I
Secretly,
had to
your dad's probably like 6.
Yeah, he was like so proud. He was like, heck yeah. And it was the range that I used to practice at, it was 30 minutes walking from my house. So my dad would go to work, my mom, I would go to school in the morning, and then I would walk to the range because I really wanted to do it. And then I would help the guys on the range to pick up the balls just so that I would hit it for free and not put that burden on my dad to keep on paying for it. I hit balls for like 6 months before I went to the golf course.
Love it.
One, it was a little expensive for my family to afford, and two, like my dad was like, you're not ready, I don't want to make a fool of ourselves, like, you're a girl, people are gonna judge, so like let's take one step at a time. So I did a lot of short game as well. Like I did a lot of chipping, bunker. I would spend hours on the bunker. I loved it. I really liked like hitting shots and making a spin. So I did all of that. And then when I first went to the golf course, it was already like my first round ever was 49.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
like,
amazing.
people were like, oh my gosh, play so well. Of course, putting was a struggle because we didn't have a putting green on the range that I practiced at. So I had to get that down, but everything else worked out. And then 15, I started playing junior events for my state.
Okay.
And then,
what does junior golf look like in Brazil?
So we have a bunch of events. We have same as the U.S. In my opinion, it's a little bit more organized the way that they do the rankings. You do like a national ranking and then a state ranking.
Okay.
And every tournament that you play, you're playing for that ranking. And then if you get top 3 on the state or top 5 on the nation, you get things paid for.
Oh, wow.
So you get tournaments paid for, like at least like the stay or like a travel, something. So my dad was like, let's get on the ranking. So you get, free pass to tournaments. So our first year was playing a ton of junior events and then some amateur as well.
Okay.
I was improving quickly just because I was putting hours and hours there, trying to practice every single day of the week for at least 4 hours, just because of school. And then I became number 1 of the junior ranking really quick, like in 2 years.
Wow.
And then before I left Brazil to go to CBU, I was number 1 in the nation there as an amateur. So it was really nice. And then my interest to go to the U.S. was more to go pro straight, but then because we didn't have the financial help, like we wouldn't be able to afford tournaments, we thought about college. It was like, why not trying 4 years and then see if I like, or if I can compete, right? Like it's a different beast when you're put into, there were
the national scale, right?
There were like 300 other girls that would play just like me or better. So I was like, okay, so
what did your journey look like from junior golf to
I spoke no English, so that was hard. I didn't know how to speak the language when we start looking to colleges, so didn't pass like the TOEFL. There's some like tests that you have to do. And I remember that I was like, oh, okay, this is probably not gonna work out. And then got some offers. CBU Cal Baptist was one that offered like a full ride, which helped me a lot. And then they would give me 1 year of ESL classes just to learn the language, play for the team. At the time we were in AIA. Okay. And I was playing for the national team as well. So there's a ton of international events that I play before I play for CBU. So I had a lot of experience, even though I was playing only for 4 years.
You did.
I played a lot. So, and I gave a lot of time for golf.
That's so valuable, right? Tournaments.
It is, yeah.
Like, it's one thing to practice, but then you got to get out there and see where your game's at, right?
Yeah,
and
I feel like a lot of people like start so early, right? Most of the girls that I played golf in Brazil, they started when they were 6. Like as soon as they were walking, they had a golf club on their hands, basically. And good and bad. I was mature enough to understand. I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I need to go to the range and practice, right? I was 14, so I knew, and my dad always reinforced, like, hey, put the time into it because it's a race and you're far behind. Like they're already like really close to the finish line and you're still starting your race. So we got to run a little faster. We got to pick up some time. The 10,000 hours that everyone knows about. So like, he's like, let's put some hours. So it was important for me. And that's why I think I improved so much because it was
kind
time.
of had that urgency, right? Let's get better.
I was mature. Like if you teach a movement to a 6 years old, like it might be a little harder to get to where you want to than at 14. So I would say it's good to start early, but then also it's not bad when you start later in life. I see a lot of high schoolers like, oh, I'm not going to start golf now. I have no chance. I was 14 and, started then there and it worked out. But
it really worked out.
With a lot of hours.
And I feel like, too, sometimes the things that we think might hold us back end up being our greatest blessing, right?
Yeah.
Because you were mature enough to understand this is a new sport. It's going to take a lot of my time, a lot of my commitment. You see your dad working hard to provide you with that opportunity, and you said, let's do it. Let's go do it, right? And let's get better because I'm behind. So instead of focusing on, hey, I'm behind, so maybe it's too late for me. No, for you, it turned into your greatest asset. I'm behind, so I'm so motivated to make up that time and see how good I can get.
You can have your rivals as a goal, right? Like, let's say if there's nobody in front of you, only behind, then where are you going, right? Who are you trying to beat? So for me, it was more like, okay, I have like 30 girls that I have to beat, so let's go, let's get it. What are they doing that I need to do better? Or when I was watching Olympics this summer, Simone Biles was competing against Andrade, which is the Brazilian girl. And then one thing that Simone said that she never had a competitor at that level, right? So it pushed her to do even better than what she was before, because she was doing just the bread and butter and winning. And now that she had someone that she's better than me, she's or equal or better in some aspects of the game, what can I do to get even better? So you become challenged every day. And I found that it was a blessing for me because you could get just lazy and not put as many hours because you're the best or because you started so early that you don't need much work. So I think it was definitely a blessing. And then 2009 came around. That's when I joined the CBU, the Cal Baptist golf team.
And now, was that your first time in the U.S.? You said you had traveled a lot for tournaments, but had you come here?
Yeah, first time in the U.S.
First time competing in the U.S.
Didn't know the language. I had 2 months to prepare, basically. Just at least saying the hi, bye, good morning. I don't know, just being respectful with people. Thank you, I guess.
So like very basic, right? Like kind of get by.
Just to get by or to not get lost on the airport, come in here.
Wow.
Parents were scared, but my dad is a big dreamer, and he always pushed me to, the next step, the next level. Where can we get? My mom was always, slow down, guys, like this is too fast, you're gonna fall on your face. But it was a good balance of parenting, which again, I think it's important to have some sort of support system. Like I know that not everyone are lucky or blessed to have parents around or parents that care for them, but anybody, a coach, a friend, my sisters, like my family had to pick and choose who they were gonna financially support. At the time it was me, so a lot of the stuff that I got, my siblings didn't get, they were completely fine with it. You know, they pushed me to do better each day. They're like, hey, you know, you're taking it from me, so you better go work, which helped me a ton, build my character too, to not give up easy, because every time I would, you know, there were days that you don't want to go, or you're too tired, your body aches. We just spoke about it. So they were the ones like, hey, let's go, wake up, let's go, 4:30 a.m., let's go work out, let's go run. And so they pushed me. So that's another thing. I think the main thing is to have a support system to get up, you know, get up and go, and have people that to, when you fall, people to give the shoulder to cry and stuff like that. So I had my dad was the biggest one, like always there with me, and he was a handicap 3 at a time, so he knew a ton, but not from any coaches, just himself learning, reading.
Self-taught.
Yeah, and so he was teaching me the things that he knew, which when I got to the US, I was like, I'm behind. Like I'm still behind on knowledge or on like knowing stuff. You know, it's 2009. We didn't have TikTok to learn things, or Google was limited.
Now,
it was like computers, like big computers. We didn't carry laptops around.
So he's reading books, and he's trying
to literally reading. What is that? The golf magazine that was big at some point. He was reading that.
Wow,
and
good for him. I love him.
Passing it on, and I was always curious. So every time. There were a bunch of pros in Brazil. Every time I got to see one of them on the range or playing on the course, and I saw like a cool shot, I would ask them, I was like, how did you do that? And do you mind teaching me? I would say 99.9% of them would just share information, right? Free information. It's like, hey, this is how I do, like this is how I cut the ball, this is how I make my drive, do this, place the ball a little far left. Like putting, I was putting for the longest time. I think my first 2 years with the ball far back on my stance, because I saw my dad doing it. My dad has been doing for like years, so he had bad habits. And then one pro just looked at me, he's like, hey, can I help you with the putt? I was like, whatever you say. So he helped me out. So that was like information that you get. I tell my students, everyone is like, ask questions. If you see that someone is a little bit better than you or have more knowledge, or even your teammates, ask them. They might have more information than you have, or something new that you can have on your Batman belt, you know, you can use eventually for your own game. So that was nice when I got to the US and learned. Like one nice thing, I had a Brazilian on the team, Adriana. She was my teammate, and she helped me go through, you know, like the first week of school. This is where you have to be, this is where you need to go. So it was super helpful. CBU at a time was pretty small. It was a small community, so we only had 4,000 students. So that was also helpful for me, because I didn't get to a college to where I sat down and there were like 300 other students. So I had one-on-one attention a lot. So same way I practiced my golf, I did practice my English. So it took me like maybe 2-3 months to get comfortable with the language. And then, you know, just speaking with my teammates, that in the beginning I was like, I barely know them. It was hard to actually connect, right? Because how am I going to talk?
I mean, you are now, you know, you fast forward and you are a CBU alum, CBU Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, yep.
And you came here to a new country, didn't have family here. You learned a new language, won golf tournaments. Incredible. Share more about these 4 years, and you talked about your teammates, right? Who was influencing you at the time.
When I look back, when you text me about, hey, let's do this, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I started looking back, right, trying to get more information and refresh my mind, and I felt so blessed, right? Like, I was like, what the heck? I accomplished all of this, and sometimes I take for granted. You know, you live. I always want to get better. I always want to be a better coach. You know, this is my second year as a head coach, right? I was fortunate enough to learn from the best at CBU. I was under Coach Machado for 6-7 years, and I was seeing the best one out there. I had other coaches that taught me what not to do as well. So, but I'm still trying to build my own culture and character, and having those people throughout my journey was so important. Professors at CBU that, you know, understood the struggle, because not always. I remember sitting my first class for my major was anatomy. anatomy is already a different language on its own. So I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna fail. This is gonna be my first F in my life, and I hate it because I was studious, so I didn't want it to get that.
You are not an F student at all, right?
So I just remember, and I sat down and it was a quiz right there. Like, we're supposed to read a textbook. I didn't know about it because I couldn't understand the class before.
Gosh.
So I was like, God, what am I gonna do? So I asked for help, and so many. I was fortunate enough, blessed to have like people placed in my life at certain moments that helped me go through either a tournament that I need help, financial help with it, or someone doing mental coach with me, nutritionist, fitness. Like, I had always someone helping, and at CBU, coaches, teammates, they were a huge part of my life, right? Like, they became family. I have people that I visit all the time. I send presents on their birthdays, and without them it would be really, really hard, because I was away from my family, siblings, away from friends. You know, there is the fear of, am I gonna connect with people? And then the first 3 months were the hardest because I didn't know the language, so what would I talk about with my teammates? And, you know, it was even hard to say, like, oh, I had a 5 on that hole, or when we used to have to say, like, this is a provisional ball. I was like, so it was a struggle. It was,
and the adjustment is tough, and you know, people are dealing with so many new things when they enter college, especially student athletes, and for you, you're having to manage. It's so difficult to learn a language as an adult. You know, I feel like children pick it up so quickly, but, you know, you're having to do classes, get to practices, navigate a new city, new country, right? Like, or having to ask for rides if you didn't have a vehicle here.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Thinking back, like, I give a lot of grace because of that, because I went through, right? Like, I think I have had the experience that my players are going through right now. So it's like, okay, I understand. Like, first week, the second week, you being late for things because you don't know where it is, you know? I was the same person right there, right then. I had teammates, like, especially, I put a ton of hours in Brazil, so I wanted to do the same when I arrived. I was like, hey, for me to get a first place here in the US, I have to be even better than I was in Brazil. That was my take, not necessarily that what I needed that, but that was my take. I was like, okay, who is going to the golf course right now? I would text them. It's like, hey, can you take me? Like, O'Neill was like the biggest, my biggest like buddy, like my first year, because he was always on the range.
Fellow golf nerd, right? Fellow student of the game.
I barely knew how to like speak. It's like, how do I ask this? And then put on Google, or Adriana would help me. I was like, hey, just text me. He's like, hey, are you going to practice today? He would answer yes or no, and then would pick me up, and then, you know, no talking, almost in the car, and then just drop me off. It's like, hey, I can. A lot of my teammates took me under their wing, like, especially like during holidays, Easter break, spring break, Thanksgiving, because
it's not long enough for you to travel.
No, like, and it's expensive, right? Like, so back and forth to Brazil. I remember the first Christmas I went back home, my mom was like, during this time of the year is super expensive, the flights. So we need to figure out a way of how can we maximize your time here, which was summer. Right, like, okay, you have to choose. So my first Christmas in the US, I decided to, like, just spend by myself with the sports people that would stay on campus, you know, kind of me. And it was nice. You learn how to mature, you know. It wasn't the greatest to be alone, but I think you learn a ton of things. It's like, hey, I need to get out there, you know. I need to make friends. I need to chat. I need to expose. But yeah, definitely my teammates are huge. They're like sisters, all of them, from day one till now. Like, I still have contact with them, hang out with them, so it's been good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we had a question from Coach Machado.
Oh, nice.
And he misses you a lot. I know it. He needs you. He's like, come back.
Be my assistant.
And he wants to know what your favorite memory is as a student athlete at CBU, and then also you coached with him, alongside him, right? And what your favorite memory is as a coach.
My favorite memory as an athlete at CBU, and I think as a student overall, it was spending hours in the caf with my teammates. We would go for like dinners, get there at 6 after practice or something, and then stay till 9 just chatting about everything and anything, you know, like personal life. And then we were so close and connected and then we also had other students around us as well. But I think that's my favorite memory. Sometimes we're not even eating. We're just there sitting and chatting,
Yep.
which was crazy. I mean, we got a lot of homework behind because of that, but I think that was one way of connecting that after college I missed a lot, right? Having that community, or, you know, when you get back from work, you don't have those energy around you to like, hey, the next day we're going to do it again. We're going to do it better, you know, and then that's what I missed the most. And then as a assistant coach with him, oh my God, so many things. Just being surrounded by them. Coach Machado, we laugh a lot on the course, you know, he's funny and I hope everyone knows that side of him, but he's pretty funny. Riding on the cart with him, eating a lot of snacks because you get you get nervous watching the girls. Yeah, just eating a ton of snacks. Gosh, one of my favorite ones. Mark was driving the van, and then he had Tina, one of my teammates, as a co-pilot.
Okay.
And I was a player there then. So Tina was a co-pilot. Tina at the time spoke little English, and she was a co-pilot with the GPS.
Oh boy.
And she's just straightforward, you know, is that teammate that's gonna tell you what's up right then. Even though it's broken English, she will tell you. And she got mad at him for missing exits, and
Even though she was the one navigating.
even though she wasn't one navigating, but because it was a little hard to communicate. So we were laughing because he missed one of the exits, and she looked at him and was like, "Coach, come on, you're supposed to turn there." And we're all shocked, like, that's your coach. But he took it so well because he started laughing, and we were like, okay. But
We'll get there
that was
eventually.
like one of my, if I could grab one memory, was that
That
to have him missing exits and my teammate going at it. It's pretty funny.
Well, it looks like you guys had such a great time, and I love following the CBU women's golf team too, because I think it's just a culture that is there at the university, the culture that Coach Machado I think instills and cares deeply about. It looks like you guys have a great time. The girls always seem like they're loving their time out on the golf course. You know, I love what they're eating. I want to get invited to some of the meals. The food looks amazing. Yeah, and it just, I think that says a lot about, one, the girls that are on the team, right, and making sure that keeps going, and also Coach Machado, who's really, you know, leading. He's leading.
That's one thing I learned from him, like, create a culture that everyone is going to buy into it, and then it's going to last, right? Like, and change when it needs to be changed, improve, but something that we can all look back and talk about the same hangout, right? The Lancer cook-off that we do, like, everyone went through it, everyone knows about it, and then if we get to hang out with the young girls right now, we're gonna talk about the same thing. And then, you know, I love how he runs the team, and then it's easy to buy into it because you're selling something great, right? Like, you're selling this great opportunity for you to improve on your golf game and as a person as well. CBU creates that Christian environment that you feel safe and loved. So to buy into it, it's a lot easier than if you get a coach that don't care for the team, unorganized, and, you know, you run through those as well. And a lot of that I'm trying to process and create my own little one, but with my team right now. And, you know, it takes time to build that, and I hope I can get there one day.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
So you graduated and got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Where did your years go from graduation to now director of golf?
Yeah, I did my undergrad master's degree. That's when I got my Hall of Fame. And then after that, I started working for Victoria Country Club as well. And during that time, I was helping as an assistant coach at CBU. So stayed there for 7 years, gave a ton of lessons. That's where I learned, like, even more about golf mechanics. You know, I got better at my own golf by learning how to give lessons. Loved every second of it. And then 2 years ago, that's when I got the job at La Verne to be the director of golf and then men's head coach, which hesitate in the beginning, you know, because I was always, I'm a woman, and I was always under an assistant position for the women's team. But then I love challenges, so took it, and it's been a good journey. Learned a lot. We were at CBU as an athlete. We were NAIA. Won the first 2 nationals that I played, one as individual and the second one as a team. Then we became D2. That's when I played my last 2 years as a D2 player. CBU became D1, so I was through the phase of CBU becoming D1. And then now I'm on a D3, different beasts, different levels of not necessarily the game itself, but just the work that I'm putting into it. So enjoying a lot. Yeah, this is where I want to be. Yeah, I love Verne, and
that's exciting.
Love everyone I work with. I'm learning a ton from the people that have been there for a while. My players are just, I'm blessed to have them. Not gonna lie, like they work as hard as I did, and that makes me really proud. They're pretty good students as well. That they're intelligent people, so it's good to be surrounded by people that they're pushing me to be a better coach. I had last year was it was a great year to kind of create my own process of how I do things, and to see the results that came out of it. Like, we finished 4th on the conference. We had a freshman of the year, Jay Wing. We had really low scores. We tied the record of the lowest 18. So it was a lot of good stuff that happened last year. And I was like, okay, we need to bring new people to push and, kind of break that, be a winner, shoot low scores. And I was able to bring two new people on the team this year. So it's been nice. Still learning a lot, but I think it's nice. Trying to play a little as well.
Yourself,
because I don't know, sometimes we get so focused on our work, because golf became work, right? That I was like, you know what, I got the golf bug this year, more like this half quarter here, and I'm excited to play as well.
That's awesome. And I feel like it's so humbling to work on your own game and put yourself out there, just like you are doing, just like your athletes are doing, right? Because if you get removed from the game, then I feel like sometimes we can forget about the little things here and there,
and how hard it is,
exactly how challenging it is. And it's challenging for the practice sessions, right? Practice for improving your golf swing, and then you've got the mental side of the game, and then here you have trying to piece together a tournament, right? Let alone you're trying to piece together one good round, and now here we are trying to piece together 3, 4, 5 good rounds to win a golf tournament as a team or as an individual. So awesome to continue. It's not
easy. I don't know how if people understand how hard it is to win a college golf event. And we normally go out there with 5 players, right? We need 4 to be on the same page, right, for 3 days. It's not the easiest thing. It's it's a puzzle that sometimes you have the perfect scenario and you don't win. Yeah, because the other school went there and shot 1 stroke better than you, and doesn't mean that they're better than us. Maybe they're then,
but maybe that was their week.
That was their week. Yeah, but it's so humbling. Every week that we play, every week that we practice, and the more I go out there to play as well, it's like, okay, this is what we need to work on, because this is where I see the weaknesses as a team. And then you have every single individual player that needs something else, either extra or less of something. And I like it.
Have fun. Yeah. So what does their Monday through Friday look like for your players?
Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays we're on the golf course, either doing drills on the course or playing a fun round, qualifying rounds before events. I try to do 3 qualifying rounds before every event, just to give a fair chance to everyone. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays they do their workouts and also a short game. So we separate an hour and a half of short game for them, just so they're they forget, especially male golfers, they forget to work on their short game. So that's
wild to me.
The more I can express how important it is. The players are hitting their pitching wedge 150. Right. If they can narrow that down, if they can really become really good from that yardage in.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There's no, and most of the courses that we play, it's very rare for them to be hitting 5 irons the whole day, right?
Wow.
Unless they're reaching the greens, on a par 5. So I try to we do our best to practice those yards, 150 in, and get all the 40 yards. We were working a lot this semester. My goal, or this month, my goal is to get as good as we can get on 40 yards. You know, I saw a need and I was like, okay, let's practice. Let's repeat the motion. Let's go out there. We use the football field a lot for some short game.
That's awesome.
Imagine like if every month we can get better at something, you know, by month 9, we at least got 9 clubs on our, or 9 yards on yardages on our bag that we know what to do. You know, that narrows down a lot. And putting, we putt a lot. I think putting, we just spoke about it a little before, right? Like how you can go there and hit the ball as great as you ever been. If you're not rolling those putts, like if you're not making those birdies, you're never going to shoot below 70. So for this weekend, I got to play a few rounds, and it's so frustrating when that happens. So I put them to work on their putting a lot. The mental game, because we are so tight with time, you know, we have all the rules with time. We do work on mental game during the short game, and then during the course we do when we're on the golf course, we do course management, and then also like, hey, what's your pre-shot routine, what's in your mind right now, like how come yesterday you played you shot -6 and today you shot, I don't know, 6 over. What is the difference? And we worked on that, a lot of visualization. You know, like I feel like a lot of people have the information nowadays to know like what they're supposed to be doing out there. It's just putting into practice. You know, if you know that you have to create a picture on your mind before a shot, then you should be doing that during practice. It's not going to happen during tournaments like right here. Or if you're one thing we worked on last semester is counting down. Like when you're feeling a little nervous, you count down from 50 to 1. And then you reset your brain on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, set. And then at some point they were able to not start at 50. They're starting on 5. It's like little things like that you work on to create that. The breathing is so important. A lot of people take for granted, but there's some situations on the course that you want your heart rate to be higher. You know, you want to pound the driver or hit your forearm a little bit harder than normal, then heart rate a little higher. Or you need to roll a putt that's only 5 feet away. You don't want to be stressed, right? You want to be calm and collected. So breathing is very important to work on that. There's a ton. There's so much that goes on behind the curtains. It's we as coaches, like we have to be prepared, you know, like trying to get informations, taking courses all the time. Like there's like every year I take at least 3 courses on mental coaching, fitness. You know, gotta learn that stuff. We gotta be up to date. Golf clubs, you know, gotta be reading about it. Golf balls, how can it help? We use a golf stat platform to help them understand their game better, because sometimes we think that our driver is bad and we're 72%, you know. It's not a driver, it's something else. So we gotta know, we gotta see it. And as a coach, I'm not there 24/7. I have 9 players on the team, so sometimes I see you hitting a bad driver once, and that cannot become a thing. Like that cannot be something that I want to work with you just because I saw it once. You know, I need to see the whole picture, and those apps that we have access nowadays really help. You know, you go there, see, it's like, okay, putting is bad, but where is it bad? Is it short ones, lagging? Like, am I struggling? Where am I struggling? So those help a ton.
I know, it's so valuable to be able to kind of take away that, like, we could feel, oh, you know, my putting was bad, right? Sometimes you get students who'll be like, my putting was bad. It's like, okay, well, what part of it? Was it speed? Was it just green rating? Was it inside 7 feet? And then you did amazing outside of that, right? Because then your putting isn't bad, right? It's just that one section that needs to improve, and then you improve that. And to have that ability and that information, right? It's way more productive. And in your setting, in such an organized setting, you guys can really focus on those things, have these plans to execute week in and week out. I mean, these are tools that your players can take away for years and years and years to come. And then the mental approach to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, these tools they can use at a job interview, right? All these
Yeah,
things that
it
you learn
is.
as a student
Yeah, it's not
athlete.
just golf or
Right.
even in class, right? If they get a little nervous for a presentation, they can start their breathing right there, where they're like visualizing that, okay, they're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You know, this is not the end. And a lot of information out there, like there's free apps for everything now. So I think the more we expose them, it's not necessarily going to learn anything, but if you're exposing them to information, they can pick and choose, right? Like, I'm not there to delegate, you know, I'm not there, like, I'm their coach. I treat them like if they're my kids, even though I'm not even a mom yet, but I'm not there to, you know, push boundaries or anything like that. I'm giving information. Like, the more information they're having, collecting that day, I believe that they're going to be a better player, a better student, personal lives, you know. It's that's why it's so nice for me to be able to expose myself to the other side of coaching. Like, I've been coaching women and now men, and how do I like and how do I have to adapt and change and transfer information. Like, I love it. Yeah, I love all the tools that we have nowadays. I didn't have right? I didn't have when I was in college, to be honest with you. Like, we did the when I was a player before going to CBU, it was raw. It was like my dad, he's pretty good at Excel, so he would put there, we would see the charts and kind of have an idea, okay, you're putting
My dad did the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing too that they like did all this work, and it's so close to what we do now, right?
Yeah.
Like, they had kind of that like future, okay, how do I make them better? Well, let's see it, you know, because my dad did the same thing. Back then, you didn't have all these stats programs, right, or anything like that. And it's so funny too when I see it, everything, and then I'm like, back in junior golf, we're pacing off distances. It wasn't a rangefinder. Like, you see the white marker and you're like, oh, that'll be like 150. Yes. Or like you're drawing in your own yardage books.
Yeah.
You know?
Putting the trees.
Yes,
and like,
yes, they're at that tree
the
right there.
water bunkers. We had an idea. Like, now we can just buy the book. You know, it's right there. It's
right
available.
there.
It's insane. Like, the amount of information and the amount of gadgets they created nowadays that if you don't have access, you're falling behind. Unfortunately, if you're falling behind, that's like, if I had what I have today, then would have been a better player, or I would have struggled with it. You know, it's too much information sometimes too, right? Like, you just spoke about pacing. Yeah. Now it's rangefinder.
I know.
What if one day you cannot use it anymore?
Exactly.
So
whenever I try to give playing lessons, I always try to like make sure, like, okay, what if their battery runs out?
Yeah.
Right? Or some of them now you charge them.
You charge them.
Right?
Yeah.
What if they forget to charge them?
Yeah.
You gotta be able to know, right, how far you are. You gotta have both, ideally.
Yeah,
right?
ideally.
To have the skills
and
to do both.
It's a blessing, not gonna lie, but
right, it is a blessing,
like,
to kind of have that
see
raw
some
experience.
Juniors, like, now that I go recruiting on tournaments, local especially, I see some juniors like from 20 yards, like,
yes,
I was like, go walk
it, go see the green. Is
and
it
I
soft
understand,
up
like,
there? What
pace of play? Yeah, they like rushing out there, but it's not gonna take long for you to walk. Other people are hitting, and it bugs me a little bit, that part of how the game is growing and improving and changing. But I think we have better feel than most, just because we paced everything and
we used our eyes so much
courses,
more.
I don't know, like, not so much here, but in Brazil, a lot of courses are. They don't have the yardage on the middle or the center of the fairway. It's all like, you have to know where the trees are and how far it is, like the dotted lines on waters. It's old school, big time. So like, your mind is 300 miles an hour on the course, because you're like, okay, I dotted this tree is 150 from the green, so if I go back 10 yards, then it's 160. I
like it.
And it's like so much.
Yeah, you're having to think. Oh my gosh.
And then like pin placement as well. Like, I remember like this conversation I had with my dad a little before coming to the US was. I always hit it a baby draw with my irons, and then I played a course where that was not it. Like, it was hard greens, and if you come with a right to left flight, it's gonna go out and about, right? It's gonna start rolling like crazy. So I was telling my dad, I was like, I want to hit some fades. I want to learn how to hit fades and straight shots. Like, let me work on it. And then he's like, no, just make your draw really good draw, like high draw. I was like, so we had a conversation of pin placement then there, and this is way back. I was like, Dad, like, how can I get to that pin?
Right.
What is the best scenario here? Middle of the fairway. So
Sure.
we learned, I think, that the stuff that the pros do on tour is like landing zones.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
or,
So you've got a tucked right pin,
Yeah.
but there's water 4 paces right of that, and you've got your draw. That's
Yeah.
a scary thing.
That's
So
no
scary.
chance for me.
Right.
Like,
You're like, well,
Here
middle
I
of
am.
the green, right?
Yeah.
And other players can maybe get
fade one
yeah,
in
fade
or
one in there.
straight
Totally
dart.
Now that you've got 10 feet, right?
Yeah, even like
Yeah.
one thing that I did a lot, like especially in college, is like, okay, would I rather like try to be so close to the pin to where if it doesn't end up how I want it, I'm putting downhill, or hit a shot that if I roll up, I'm gonna be like a tap in or a super easy putt uphill with
yeah.
little break. Like, it's so much information that little by little I'm trying to help my players as well, because we get so caught up on the course. Like, our tunnel visual is so greater. Like, when we're out there, we're not thinking about a lot. We just want to hit the shot.
Right.
Gotta be on the green somehow.
Yeah.
You're gonna force the shots. There are days that you can hit with your eyes closed and it's gonna be a perfect shot, but some days you have to overthink and prepare for bad shots.
Right, definitely. And then give yourself the opportunities to get up and down, right? And sounds
Up
like
and
you guys do
downs.
a ton of that. And I'm
Yeah.
glad your players are embracing that.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's really fun. Like, if you're having a bad day, but you like chip a couple in, or you get some up and down, all of a sudden you're like, okay, just casual
Yeah,
71 here, when it could have been,
Yeah.
who knows what it could have been, right?
And
it just kind of frees you up for those
It
approach
does.
shots too. You're not like super nervous.
Because you have done it so many times.
You're like, all right, well, I can get up and down. Doesn't mean you're gonna, aim at a silly pin, but like, if you happen to miss your shot, might chip one in, might get a tap in
That's
for par.
like, if you start getting more into the stats on the tour, LPGA or PGA, you start seeing, okay, they miss shots.
Yes.
Where do they miss is
Yep.
very important, and then their up and downs. Like, I was watching the qualifying rounds for the LPGA there in Mission. This couple weekends ago, one of my teammates was playing, and watching her miss shots, it's so smart. Like, where she was missing the shots, attacking the pin when she needed to attack, or if it was safe to attack, and then her misses were so like, what? It's just a bump and roll to the flag and a tap in, because
Par.
that's all they do. Par.
Yeah.
It's like, they're so big and better on short game that if we can try to have our little players to understand as a junior age, it's like, hey, backwards golf,
Right.
learn how to chip and putt, and then, because I feel like everyone can pound the ball.
Yeah.
Everyone
Especially
can hit.
nowadays, right? You see like, they're hitting the ball so far these days.
So far, I have, it's pretty impressive. I have players that are not as much taller than I am. I'm sure I'm 5'3", 4", and they can hit the ball miles,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
300, 320. So it makes me think of, okay, what's next in golf? Like, working backwards is the best thing, because they can all pound. Girls are, we just spoke about the events, like, how it's a lot of speed, a lot of fitness training, a lot of and then kind of forgetting the other side of golf, where it brings the money, right? Like, you have to roll the putts and be able to understand that part of the game. It's hard to sell it, not easy, especially when everyone are pounding it,
Right.
if you're playing with another guy that's like 340 off the tee, and you're like,
And then you're always first to hit.
it's really hard to sell it, but the more they see the results coming in from their wedges, the better it is. Like, they're
Right.
Manny talks, like, when they hit the green on the short side of it, it's like, come on, we know better. Like, we've done this over and over, and there's a difference between mishitting the shot, right? Like, a bad shot,
Of course,
like, you
it's gonna happen.
sliced one
Yeah.
or hooked one,
Yeah.
then the ball's gonna go where it wants to go. Or
it's like, please
then
just stay
but,
in
like,
here somewhere.
You're having a strategy on your mind that
Yeah.
put you in such a bad situation with a nice stripe. Like, it's strategy. It's like, by the time you get to college, you should already have a good swing going, right? There's always tweaks. We always tweaked. I always tweaked my swing. I think it's an ongoing process. We are always unhappy with how things are going, right? Like, I don't know if everyone are on the same page, but there should be already like 80% ready for a golf round, hitting good shots out there, but golf strategy is big. It's big where you're missing the shots, where you putting yourself on the fairway, right? If a pin is tucked in left, right behind the bunker, then you place your driver left because you think that's the best option. Then you have a weird shot to the green. It's like little things like that. It's
they add
ongoing.
up. Yeah,
it's an ongoing battle.
Right. Yeah, and it makes a difference.
And egos get in the way. Right? You want to pound it.
Right.
Wherever it goes. I just want to be 340 yards away from the tee box. So
right.
It's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah,
and then also kind of trying to instill in them, right, like that, like discipline to just have that patience. Yes, like to wait for your opportunities. And pars are great. Give yourself a ton of looks at birdie, and all of a sudden you're looking at something that feels like you could have maybe shot a 65 and hey, a 68, and just like, oh, that 68 felt easy.
Yeah.
That's like great stuff there, right?
Up and downs, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And think about this, like we play a lot of golf alone, right? There's not many people telling us what to do. Junior golf, maybe your parents, but like having a coach or an assistant coach that can see the bigger picture for you, and you just have to play. And you're told what to do. Like life is so easy during college golf. We complain because the schedule is tough, right? We're trying to manage a 4.0 while playing like 11 events a year, practicing every day. If you want to shoot good scores, you should be 7 days a week. I was, and I see no reason for people to go to at least putting green for 30 minutes, right, on a Saturday.
Exactly.
Anything helps you to improve daily. So it's tough, but it's a easier part of people's life. Like,
it really is.
I miss it so much. Like,
me too. I want to go back.
Just having people like, hey, on Monday at 7 a.m. you're gonna be here, and they just wake up at 6:30, and then you go.
You go. Somebody's got your practice plan.
Telling all the kids, don't take it for granted, and learn from your coach, from your teammates. Like they have information that you might know already, but you need reviews, or you don't know. This is brand new information. Pick on your coach, teammates. Make friends in college, right? Like they become sisters, they become brothers. You start connecting with people better. God knows if you're gonna bump into them right later in life, become your partner in business. And so that's the things that I sell to my players as well, because I'm competitive. Like I want to win, right? I want to go to a tournament and
winning
beat
is fun.
Everyone. Right? But I have to remember, like, okay, those are people that actually wanted to build a career, right? Not all of them wanted to go pro. So we need to keep that in mind as well. Okay, there are little humans that I need to take care of mentally, right? Like I need to help them. Okay, not a good day today, but why are we here? What's our purpose, right? We're living the bigger picture. It's not just golf school. Like it's bigger than that. So I hope that like every day that I'm out there, I had to learn this. First year it was like hard for me as a head coach. I was like, okay, why you guys are not there like Saturday, Sunday, Monday from
I'm the same way. Like, I'm like, your off day can still be 30 minutes of putting.
Exactly. Like, and I call myself in I'm almost like dragging them into this mud with me that like we all became so competitive that we forgot homework, we forgot this, and I had to remember myself. I was like, okay, we need to get things done a different way, more quality, right? A lot of quality, sometimes over quantity, right? Like we only have an hour and a half to do short game. Let's use it. Let's be 100% here on this from 6 to 7:30. We're here, present, and that's college life for you. Like you're gonna have a easy life because your schedule is set. It's gonna be hard because you have so much to do. You're working out, you're doing things, and you wanted to be present at school as well, doing all the fun stuff that they have to offer. And then as a coach, we have to just remind ourselves, okay, little humans right there, we need to take care of them as well overall, not just golf. And I think this year I'm doing so much better.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm
I'm sure
allowing them
amazing.
to my door is always open for them, but I'm okay with them having to miss something for a homework, or and giving grace more often, because I'm like transitioning to where it's just life experience as well. Do I want them to spend 4 years of their lives being miserable, or each year learning something, each year being happier and happier with their decision of going to school, right? Like, kids now have many other things to do than going to college play golf. So the more I see that part of their lives, the better I understand and become a better coach too. I think it's helping me. Yeah. Still competitive though. Yeah. We are all competitive. I have a very
balance, right?
Yeah, like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Even in life, I think it's really hard to like, okay, I've worked out like 7 days this week. I don't want to miss Monday. You know, like it's hard to balance everything.
It's tough, and it's such a special part of their lives, right? Like Mike and I were both student athletes, and we talk about our college years so fondly because it's such a unique experience. You get that camaraderie, you get community, you are working towards common goals, you're hopefully learning from each other, pushing each other to get better, to be better teammates, right? And learning from your coaches. And then you go into the adult world and life, you don't you know, it's so hard to find the time to have that kind of community again, right? And you have so many memories from those 4 years, whether they are travel days, like, you know, the one navigation right?
Troubles,
right? Or like great meals together, great wins together, great losses as well. I mean, it's amazing. And you could tell one of your players wanted you to share your, I believe it was your mental coaching philosophy, specifically last spring.
he was so specific, and I know
very
he was
specific. And I think he obviously took a lot from that. So you know, he must really want you to share it with everybody else.
This is how our season goes, and I hope I can explain kind of better. So the most important tournament for us is conference, because if you win conference, you get to go to nationals, right? The whole year we were building up for it. Right, the whole year we had the mentality was like one step at a time. Let's get better. Each day we're gonna get better, and we're gonna focus on the progress, right? Because sometimes we get, especially the prior year, because I got them only for half of the year, half of the semester. Because when I got this position, the semester already had happened, so fall was gone, was behind me, and I got them for spring. So I felt like we're rushing and we need to get things done, and I couldn't really put a dot where I wanted to focus on. So it was like pretty rushy, didn't like it. So the following year, which was the year that Jay is talking about, we had that mentality. Was like each week we're gonna treat it as a week to prepare for conference, even though conference is 5 months away, even though we had tournaments ahead of us that I wanted to win, but this is not our end goal. This is not our end goal. This is not our end goal. We talked a lot about this. It's to get on the train of where we're going upwards, and we don't mind if there's some bumps in the road, because that's not our end goal, right? We had players improving through the season so well and getting mentally prepared, because we didn't care if we shot a 3 over on a tournament that we were supposed to win, because that was not our end goal. So I think having the bigger picture helped them a lot to actually trust the process.
So very present.
Present. We were present on every single situation. Frustrations happened during the semester to where we always bounce back to where, is this our end goal? No. We need to get ready. And then by when we started, and then giving them information as well, I was like, hey, how can we move through, how can we become freshman of the year, how I can become player of the year, and stuff like that. Giving them information. It's like, hey, this is my goal for you, and this is your individual goals, right? Like last semester you were a 74.2 scoring average. Let's cut that to 73. That's one stroke. That's not much. Realistic expectations for each one of them. And then when we combined all of it, we built a stronger team, right? Because if everyone has their goal, and then we can prepare them for this to be united at the same time, the same moment. It helped us to not get caught on, we didn't win this event, and now it's like, because when golfers go through darkness, it takes a while to build. And because we were like okay with it, it went by really fast. We learned from it, but it went it was over our heads really quick. Then I would say this semester when I started, it stayed with us a little longer than it should have, and then we struggled a little bit during conference. And one most important thing was getting everyone on the same page quicker, right? Hey, this is the work that you need. Go to the range, or you're struggling on this. This is your goal. Let's do this. Like, what can we do to get there? Having this, my dad always helped me with vision board. I always had a vision board. I always knew where I wanted to be certain parts of the year. With the handicap, I knew I would start with 36, and then how can I get to 16, and then I have to hit the fairways more often. So I helped him as well, created a vision board. It's like, okay, we know that this year we ended with a 74.2 average. We need 71 from you to win the event, right? To win conference. How can we get there? All right, coach, my stats says that I'm struggling with my long irons. Okay, that's our focus. And then break it down from it. Like, how can you get better with your 4-iron? Let's say your 4-iron. How can you get better at that? Oh, I'm going to put at least 20 minutes of my session on the range on my 4-iron. And then break it down from it. It's like, okay, but when? Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's like we broke it down to where it became so specific down to the hours. And that helps then get organized and move on from it, because when you get better at something that you're working on, move on from it. There's something else on your game that needs some work, and that helped me as well to see, okay, they are working on the right stuff. When we got to the conference, I felt that we were so ready to win. We were ready to play our best. Win was gonna, depend on so many factors, other teams not performing great and stuff like that, but we were way more ready. So that part of our mental game was more mature than the year before. And then I feel like Jay mentioned, because he won Freshman of the Year, and that was
Jay.
huge. That's like,
Love it.
if you know college golf, it's something really hard to get.
Yes.
Especially when all the schools have 10,
Mm-hmm.
got new guys on the season. So for you to come in and win anything as a freshman is huge.
Right.
So
when
I'm
you're
pretty
having
proud.
to make all these adjustments, right? A
Mhm.
new place,
Your mind is, you don't even know where you are most of the times.
Right.
Like, if coaches, like, we tend to just, hey, let's do that 1 2 3 drill, and then the freshmen was like, oh, the heck is that
one. Yeah. Which
Like,
one is that
what
one?
is that one? It's a lot of stress, and for us to be able to bring in such a huge accomplishment as a team, and then also individually, I think it was huge for us. We got 2 guys all conference. Shreyas was my sophomore last year, and I could see that was some fire, because he saw, like, his teammates, they were playing well. So gotta catch up. It was his second year, and he wanted it so bad. So it did help as well for us to have a process in mind.
Yeah.
It's like, and then to have the prior numbers to help. When you're a freshman, like, I don't know if every coach feels the same way as I feel, but the expectations for you, it's smaller than others. I expect for my freshmen to just get a good grasp of what a college life is supposed to be like, and then improve from it. And then when they start already, like, running like dark horses and winning stuff, and like going crazy,
Becoming leaders.
it's huge. It helps the team, like, tremendous. Then always having to care or give extra attention to someone that's kind of struggling. So yeah, it was big.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And such a testament to what you wanted to instill in them, and then they delivered, right? Because you can lead them so much, and then they also have to buy in and make it work, right? And say, okay, yes, we didn't win, but we got to get better because conference is coming. And it's so interesting. It reminds me of when I first turned pro. I felt like I did such a good job of having that process mindset. So the year that I got my tour card, I never won on the Symetra. It was a Symetra tour at the time. I never won. And a ton of people kept asking me, when's the win coming? Because I had a lot of top 10s and a lot of top 5s, but I just didn't win. And I just kept telling myself all year, my goal is to be on the LPGA tour and have a career on the LPGA tour. So I need to get better. So winning not winning didn't bother me, because I said, okay, well,
You trust the process.
yes,
yeah.
my goal is to be better for when I'm on the LPGA tour. So what do I need to learn from not winning this week? And missing a cut didn't bother me so much, because I said, okay, now I know what I need to work on. And I just kept chipping away.
Mm-hmm.
And a year later, I'm a better player. I'm on the LPGA tour.
That's awesome.
And it was amazing to really be able to execute that, because it's one thing to shoot for it, and it's another thing to continue on when you don't win or when you miss a cut, right?
Yeah.
And then on the LPGA tour, it was way more challenging for me to keep that kind of calm process, because I felt like I'm there, and then a lot of those things are like, okay, now you got to get into majors, and now you get this and that. So it's also catching yourself, right, at those times that you wander a little bit, like, okay, no,
when it
let's
becomes
get back.
hard.
Yeah. And that's, I think, where like your job is so valuable to these kids, because you can catch them and bring them back and be like, hey, I know you didn't have the round you wanted to have today, or hey, as a team, I know you guys didn't have the round, but remember, you're getting better, right? We have a job to do tomorrow, right? We're going to be better people, better teammates, better golfers, better putters.
And it's sometimes it's not easy to see like the bigger picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you look at a bad round, even though you have a goal, you're looking at a bad round and you're like, what the heck? Like I have been working on my driver for the past 2 weeks and I haven't hit one fairway.
Right.
So but then you have to step back, and as a coach it's easier for me to like help them with that and say, hey, remember, like, you're working on this, and you know it's going to take more than 2 weeks. Like, we know.
Yeah.
And we are okay with the struggle.
Yes.
Like, being okay. And then having the ability to speak with your coach, I think it's huge. Like, for them to bring it up, it's like, it might not happen this week. Like, I'm struggling. Like, if you want to pick me, that's fine, but I don't think I'm the guy for this tournament. Have the maturity to, and the open mind that it's okay to struggle for a little bit. And like you said, it took you like a year to be where you wanted to be. Golf, this happens junior events a lot. There's tournaments going on every day of the week, right? A junior is going from an event to another one, to another one, to another one, to another one. There are 150 plus kids signed up for one event. Second place, if you consider second place as not winning, which is not, it's not winning, but then if you're not learning from it, like, hey, what did I do, what can I do better from this event, and learn from the experience, those second places, those last places become like a dark place on your mind. And it's a year from that day, you're gonna see zero improvement,
right?
Because you're not taking anything, you're not learning from experience, you're not seeing the bigger picture, you don't have a plan, you're just going to events because your parents signed you up. That's tough. You can see a lot of juniors hitting a wall of, okay, I'm shooting low 70s, how can I get better than that? Because there's no plan. There's no, what do I want to see? Like, I don't know if you get to experience this yet, but parents that got to me when I was giving golf lessons, my daughter is 6 years old, I want her on the LPGA tour. There's no questions about how can we get there. There's questions like, can she win events now? Right? Like, it's the reward needs to be instant. And then if the kid is 6 starting lessons, 7 not winning anything, 8 not winning anything, 9 not winning anything, out of golf, or my kid is not getting anywhere, I'm gonna change coaches, I'm gonna change. It's so, because golf is so detailed, right? There's 14 clubs on your bag. You have to learn how to hit all of it with precision, and it takes time. If people realize like how much time it takes to improve your putting, improve your 60 degrees, improve your bunker game, like, it takes time, and to trust, it takes a mind like your mind, my players, someone that really wanted so bad something bigger, for you to trust on the small victories.
I know.
My small victory, for example, the other day, my small victory was not 3 putting, right? It's a victory. Like, now that I'm not playing, that's huge.
Huge
like,
victory.
It's a huge victory. Like, for you to trust as small little things, like as little as, oh my God, I hit one fade today. I was able to fade the ball one time, and just trust that this is what it takes to do whatever you want with the ball in a year. you need that support system, and you need that your mind to be on a healthy set. You need to set up to where, and vision boards helps a lot. Like you getting home, looking to your fridge or wall or why not bathroom mirror, and seeing that, oh, okay, this is where I want to be. I want to be shooting, let's say for the higher handicaps there, you were 100. I need to be shooting 92 by the end of 6 months. Have that written somewhere on your cell phone, somewhere that you can see that you're daily looking at it and reminding yourself, today was not a good day. I'm still 105, but what did I do so well today that, you know, it's part of my process. It's part of where I want it to be today. Yeah. So kind of going one day at a time and one shot at a time, one round at a time. It's cliche, but it's the truth. Like, absolutely, the trust that you have to put on. Yeah. It's like diving. You have to put your head first and go. Trust that the water is going to be soft enough to, you know, this. And sometimes we don't. We just want results tomorrow. Yes, we really do. I feel like we all fight that at one point in our careers or in our lives, right? Everybody these days just, we really want that instant gratification, but it's such a rewarding human experience to do hard things. Like, I look back on my career, and especially now, as you know, it looks a little bit different these days, right? And then I'm also trying to teach a little bit and things like that, and I remember, I'm not that far removed from remembering how these junior kids, we remember how they felt, right? Yeah, it's tough, and it's also uncomfortable to watch people struggle, but that's what they need, right? Struggle, and to have the skills to remember, I can do this. I've struggled. This is totally normal. Almost to like not fear being uncomfortable. Yeah. You know, like to get into that state where you're just like, I'm uncomfortable and this is going to mean growth. This is going to mean experience. I'm going to be better because of this. And then 10 years goes by and you're like, I can do hard things. You remember that, right? And it really is. That's one of my most rewarding memories, is improving and doing something that's really difficult at a high level. Is so fun. It really is. Like, I don't even really remember like a lot of my finishes. What I remember is a lot of those good shots that I was able to get good at, right? Or like short game. Like I love bunkers. I do. I love them. You're like, good at it too. I want to learn the way you do it. And I love it. But I think there's something to be said about, you know, like people that kind of like approach that and like, is it teachable? Is it coachable? Right? I think so. If a player's open to it, right? Open mind. Yes. Like, be open to it. Don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to struggle. It's just all part of it, right? And it will be so beneficial regardless of what you do. Like it was so scary to play in my first event after becoming a mom, and I get out there and I'm so nervous. I'm so uncomfortable. Isn't that wild? And we have done it so many times. So much, right? Yeah. And I'm like halfway through my round and I'm like, I miss this feeling. Yes. It's such a good feeling. Yeah. It is. Like, once you, like, it's rewarding. It is rewarding, and it's super fun. Because especially now as an adult and somebody that doesn't compete as often, it's rare to find that kind of feeling in a regular, right, adult life, right? To kind of put, and you can, it's the same at all levels. Like, I see a lady, you know, she enters in the club championship. She's got that same feeling, right? Or like if you and I go play in a partners tournament, we're gonna get that same feeling. Butterflies and all. Yeah. It's crazy, right? Like, how fun to have that. Going back to like struggling on an event, one thing that my dad told me one time, I played a junior event, and it was when I was kind of winning back-to-back events, so the expectations were super high for me. Interviews, Natalie's gonna win this event, blah, 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 and I lost it. I didn't play well, struggled mentally, I think, to keep up with all the stress, and then I sat in the car crying, and my dad looked at me, and I thought he was gonna just yell, which he barely did, only when I needed, but he looked at me, he's like, you know what, I don't know what to say, because we have been working hard. Like, you're putting hours, right? There's not much I can say, because you were literally just giving 100%, if not more. But one thing I can say is, remember that feeling, the feeling that you have now that's so bitter and it's not good. Remember that feeling, and whatever you do, do it to where you do not feel that again. So he gave me like that juice that I needed to like, right? It's one, it's not the end of the world, but I don't like this.
Right.
Like, what can I do to change?
Yeah.
Right. It's either working smarter, working harder. What is it? And then I remember that, and it was nice to hear from one of the moms that I was giving lesson to her daughter. The daughter went to run a one of the little schools, like 1 mile run for fun, and she got last place. Kids start crying, and then I was able to tell her, I was like, hey, remember that feeling? You know, do you like it? Hate it. Don't like it. I don't like crying. I don't like that everyone beat me. I was like, how can you change that? And you either not gonna run again in your life, it's one way to change, or you're gonna try harder. You're gonna practice a little bit with your siblings, like just running for fun.
Definitely.
And she looked at me, and then the mom was like, I'm gonna start using that every time that they cry.
Totally. Yes.
It was like something that I'll always remember my dad said, like even in my personal life, like I don't know, with friends or when I was like, remember that feeling. Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Do you're gonna get better or not? So it's interesting how our mind works on
it really is.
days that are not easy.
It really is.
I like what you said there. It's nice.
So you're out there recruiting, right? You're out there watching players. What advice do you have for aspiring student athletes and also to the parents of these student athletes?
For the parents is because I had the sports system, but help them go through the process, you know, like create a healthy scenario to where you were pushing them when they need to be pushed, right? You were picking on them when they need to. Like, for example, if you're spending a lot of money on your kid that wants to play golf and you see them going once to the range, then they need a little yelling, they need a little pushing. But if the kid is out there giving it all, I've seen parents still being not nice. So just be a supportive a system to where you're supporting, you're helping them go through the challenges of golf, challenge them to get better, but also being aware of the consumption of, you know, how much time this takes, and you know, their mental game. Help them out, parents. Like you be there when you need to be there. I see a lot of great parenting out there, but just struggling a little bit to understand that golf is not you're not going to get better, you're not going to become Tiger Woods at age 11, right? It takes time. And trust that little process. Come up with a plan with them together, sit down, and this is my plan. I'm going to sign you up to 20 events this year, but number 20th is the one that I want you to get better at it. I wanted to improve day by day. Like they kind of have that idea of they're going somewhere, right? That it doesn't need to be well planned, well thought, but you see them going somewhere, help them going somewhere. For the recruiting, be patient. You know, I get emails all the time. I was gone or I wasn't checking my emails I took a little vacation during summer for 7 days. I had 300 emails that, you know, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of you playing golf really well. Be patient, expose yourself to the coaches, you know, emails. Be precise when you're writing to the schools, you know, check. I think one of my favorite things is to read how they cared about our season. And this might be just a little something that they can add. It's like, it was nice to see Jay Wing winning freshman of the year. I would love to have a spot on the team. Little things like that. Pay attention to details. Narrow down, you know, D1, D2, D3, NEIA, JUCO. They're all great opportunities for you to be playing while getting a degree. Don't narrow down to where you want to go D1. Spots are limited out there. You know, it's not for everyone. And not, you know, sometimes you're looking for an experience beyond golf, and other divisions might give you that more than just going to D1 playing golf, and it pushes more the sport than academics. Narrow down where you want to go, send out emails, you know, be prepared. Preparation is good, you know, when you're a junior and you're not doing that then you're a little late. You know, I start looking kind of 2 years ahead of the players that I wanted to follow around, and do your research on the school, on the coaching staff, on the results that you need to be shooting already. I am big on giving opportunities to juniors that are trailing to play well, don't have the results yet, but I see a great swing. When I go to the course, I see good attitude. It's interesting. Like, the more I'm going out and watching the players and seeing bad attitude, that's a big no-no for me. I don't want bad apples on my team. Right. It's so much easier. The ride is so much more fun when you have a group of people that are on the same mindset. You know, hey, I'm not gonna start throwing clubs because I'm one over, right? Like, be respectful out there on the course, because sometimes you don't see the coaches out there. You think they're not out there. We are out there. We're looking at it. We're watching. Instagram is a big window of who you are. You know, be careful with what you post. You know, if I'm scrolling down and let's say really enjoy this junior, and I see things that I shouldn't be seeing on a page, on a social media page, create a golf account. You know, make your personal private, and then a golf account to where it's golf only, and you're posting fun stuff, golf related. I think that's a good advice. I see things there's like, a lot of coaches will go beyond the result. Of course, we're gonna open that email that says I'm shooting 67 and I'm a sophomore, or of course we're gonna take a look at it, but it's beyond. For me personally, and I know Coach Machado does it too, I know other coaches are really into personality. We do not want to struggle for 4 years with a guy that we don't want to help. So, I don't know, be upfront with coaches as well. Hey, got injured. This is what's going on. And I love seeing students that are very family oriented. This is personal. This is just me, you know. When the parents are out there cheering them on, talk to the coach, you know, it's huge, because that means I'm gonna have a support system when I invite this player to be one of a leopard. So it's, for me, it's huge. So parent, don't make a fool of yourself on the course when your kid is playing and there's coaches watching, because it plays a huge role on recruiting as well. I'm a D3 coach, so I don't give scholarships, but through the school you can get merit scholarships. So I would say all of my players have some sort of financial help through academics. Some of them have the full amount, some of them have a little less, but get good grades in high school. It's important too. If you catch yourself like, D1 is not the place, D2 is not giving me a scholarship, D3 can become a spot for you, the perfect spot. Just get those grades up and you're gonna get money out of it too.
That's a great opportunity. Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that I would love to like mentor the young population to, like, how can I get noticed?
Right. Yes.
One of my players on the team, on the roster right now, approached me on the range. He was sending emails, never reach out results, and I'm always getting emails, so sometimes we read it but we don't focus too much on it. Approach me on the range. Be brave. If you see a coach out there that you kind of would love to play for, approach them. You know, it takes a couple minutes to introduce yourself, talk about your game, your background, and just a little bit about the team. It's like, hey, I noticed that you guys did really well last semester, or nice that you got 2 new members on the team. Like, how many spots left do you have? Get information, and then write a nice email afterwards. Like, hey, it was nice seeing you on the course.
Follow up.
A follow up. Yeah.
Okay.
Little things that we miss sometimes. I probably missed when I was their age, so I think the more the merrier. I got my first letter from a student, recruit wanting a spot on the team, handwritten. It was nice.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah,
yes.
It was that person is going above and beyond, putting all out there. And if they don't get it, they tried it. At least they put 100% effort, Like, I think coaches like to see, like, nowadays, especially that everything is email, and it's so because there's softwares out there helping them write and helping them put my name on top of it. And when it becomes personal, the little details, I think that puts them a little ahead of everyone else.
Yeah,
and
makes a difference.
again, I get 20, 30 emails a day. So
Wow.
even being in D3, I can only imagine the D1, D2 coaches, you know, just put yourself out there. Go visit tournaments. If they're playing a tournament, I had a player last year visiting us in one of our events that we had local. He got to meet me. I'm gonna see him playing a couple events this year.
Wow.
So he put his name on my radar and follow up, and it's little things like that. I think especially if you're local and wanting to go to a local school, huge.
Yeah.
Get connected.
That is great advice. Wow.
Yeah.
What is your schedule looking like this fall?
This
So
fall,
if people want to watch you play, where would we go see you?
I have 4 events. I have one coming up this weekend in Ventura.
Okay.
We're gonna play Oliva's Links.
Okay.
If you really want to know our schedule, follow us on Instagram.
Yes, how do we follow you?
Yeah, so get there. There's all the events. I only have 4 events this
Okay.
and they're all local.
Okay.
So we do have one on the end of the month at Tuckwick. So I know a lot of junior golfers are there practicing playing.
Yeah.
Approach me. Okay, there's, you know, I will give you my time. If you're all in my field, right? If I'm there already for a tournament, then it's a lot easier for me to separate time aside to chat with you for a couple minutes than you reaching out to me and me missing all the emails and stuff like that. That one is nice to go to. We're playing a Via Verde on the 20th. We're playing a match against CMS, which is one of our biggest rival of the conference. And then we have one on the 27th in Costa Mesa.
Okay.
So we're kind of everywhere in SoCal this semester.
Okay.
So if parents as well are welcome to come and watch and chatting with the players too, getting their idea of, hey, how is your coach outside of the podcast, right? How is your coach, like, what is it?
Yeah.
Are you a player that wants to practice 5 days, 7 days a week, or you're more like, I'm more chill, I don't want to practice as much, but I still want to play? Narrow down so you know where you want to go.
Okay.
Because some coaches out there are breaking rules, playing 7 days a week. Just kidding. But yeah, there's one way to narrow down is like kind of getting to know the school and what you want as well. Some of my players are really focused on their degrees. So there's a moment where their golf kind of hurt. It's a little bit more hurt than others, just because it's like finals week, like biology majors.
Totally.
Anything that they have labs in the afternoon kind of collide with golf a little bit. So look into that as well.
That is great advice. So kind of like that word of mouth, right? Talk to
Word of
former
mouth.
players. Talk
That's
to
huge.
players on the
Yeah.
team now. Come up, say hi to Coach Silva.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
follow.
It's
Follow
huge.
on
Follow
Instagram.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram. You're gonna see everything. Try to post more often lately. You know, social media was never our thing, and now it's becoming the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get better at it.
Yeah.
People are gonna see more of our work
Awesome. Okay.
behind the curtains.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited to follow you. Hopefully we can make it out. Make it out with the little one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they take toddlers?
Yes.
Can we come?
We take helpers.
Can you come look at my toddler?
We take helpers.
Yes, your mascot.
Yeah, little Machado, I wanted to take him on the course with, because, you know, when you see the boys playing, you're like, oh,
Yes, it's
it might
adorable.
inspire them, right? The little ones.
100%.
Take them on the cart ride. So
As another, I feel like too for college athletes, like, hey, be a good example. Look
Yeah.
at this little boy out there
And
watching you guys
see
play.
You see
might
a
want to
side
be
of
you.
them that you don't. I, as a coach, I don't know, right? Like,
Yeah.
I see them on the course all the time, and they're at school, and then when you get to see them interacting with the little one,
Aw.
you know, giving
Yeah.
lessons or something, it blows my mind how nice and prepared they are.
I have had that same experience. I have been blown away at
It's
how
crazy.
nice people have been to our son. They really have. And young people,
Young
too.
people,
They're
yeah.
just go right up to him, want to play, want to interact.
that's nice.
You know, they'll go ahead and do
golf
whatever.
connects us. Like, we don't realize that, but like every time we're like, oh, that little one plays golf, we become a different character, right?
Yes.
We're like, I want that little kid to play golf so bad.
Right.
So you invest a little time into
Yes.
it. They got to hang out with a couple of my nephews last semester, and it was the cutest thing. We took them to a ride on the van,
Oh,
which, you know,
fun.
for kids.
Yes.
And with a bunch of boys,
Yeah.
right? Or men around them. A ride on the van. We got ice cream Oh my God, they talked about it for the rest of the week.
Best day ever.
They did not care for golf, and now they talk about golf.
I love it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you make it fun. You give them a special experience.
A little sugar, so.
Yeah. All right, well, you'll see us out there.
Yes.
You'll see us out there
I want to see you guys for sure.
Yes,
it'd be
we'd
nice.
love to.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Like, one of the biggest thing last semester, we had more parents coming to watch.
Oh, that's awesome.
So imagine, like, you have people clapping for you, snacks,
The best.
right? Like, parents' snacks are the best snacks because they're junk food and the best food on earth.
Yes.
So they play better. It's interesting to see, but they play better.
Fun sporting event, right? Instead of kind of just being out on your own at a golf course, it becomes a sporting event. Family, friends,
they get to walk,
come support
nature.
University of La Verne. Yes, get to walk in. Yes, seriously, yes. I know you'll probably find us out by the rocks over there in a hazard if we bring our little one.
You can see the balls for us too landing.
Yes, we'll be your spotters.
Yeah. I'd love to see you guys there.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time.
Anytime.
Okay, it's
Thanks
such
for
a pleasure.
having me. It's nice seeing you and chatting with you. Always learn
so
something
overdue.
a lot.
So I'm glad we got to do this, and then we've still got to chat a little bit about what's in the works in the future. So everybody has to stay tuned.
Stay tuned for the next
I'm excited.
Partnership here.
Let's do it.
Okay, nice.
Yes. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Lee.
Natalie.
I appreciate you. Big time.